What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to
200K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family without further ado. Let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Barrel children. As a small child, I was left with Grandma in Jamaica by my ambitious mother. Seeking a better life in Britain's cold mother country, like so many others, I was a barrel child of the Windrush generation who, after many years, was sent for. I could never have imagined what this country, in school and work, for me, had in store.
Talk about it. Talk about it. We actually covered this before, you guys, but I feel like this is more in-depth.
Yeah, it was like a small clip.
Yeah, it was a
The Empire Windrush brings to Britain 500 Jamaicans. Many are ex-servicemen who know England. They served this country well. In Jamaica, they couldn't find work. Discouraged but full of hope, they sailed for Britain. Citizens of the British Empire coming to the mother country with good intent.
While we often know the stories of the Windrush generation, the generation of Caribbean migrants who were invited to the United Kingdom to help rebuild Britain's weakened economy after the Second World War, we know less of the stories of the children they left behind, many of whom barely knew their parents because they were left in the care of grandparents or extended relatives at a young age. Often, the only tangible connections these children had with their parents were the care packages that were sent to them in a barrel.
Oh, bro, but that's big, and I'm about to connect some stuff already, because that's how it is in culture today as well. A lot of times, kids will be left with grandparents because mommy has to work, because daddy got to work. And they're working 24 hours, so they really can't be home unless they're about to go take a nap and get back ready to go back to work again. This is the exact same thing, except they're overseas with it.
Yeah. A whole nother country.
A whole nother country. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, being left with grandma and grandpa was a real thing. It's a full circle.
Experiences and ongoing realities of the barrel children were eventually reunited with their parents in the United Kingdom. I met with 3 barrel children, Dani, June, and Linford. Deanne worked as a foster carer for 23 years. Now, she's retired and enjoys poetry and writing. Jean is an intuitive healer and teacher who takes pleasure in mindfulness activities. And Linford is a Black history researcher, educator, Caribbean genealogist, and author. They share the triumph and trauma of being a barrel child and their enduring connection to their homeland. Diane was just 3 years old when her mother left her in the care of a grandmother in Jamaica. But the love and care she initially received soon turned into a bittersweet experience when she had to go live with another family member.
My mom left me with my grandmother in Portland when I was 3 years old. And yeah, it was a very difficult time. And I remember, even though I was only 3, funnily enough, I actually remember where we lived in Kingston. My grandma was a lovely person, very strict. And I remember her saying to me, you need to be the best that you can be. So unfortunately, Grandma died when I was 6. And I was sent to live with a cousin. But she did not treat me very nice. She was horrible to me, to the extent where it was her husband who used to defend me. And I remember getting really angry one day, you know, when she was going to beat me. And said, you know, if you touch that child again, you're going to have to beat me too.
Separated from her mother at the age of 2 and raised by her aunts, Jean's life as a barrel child provided her with everything and more that she could ask for.
My childhood experience was very, very good.
That's
and
good.
I think that was where the problem lied. I was so loved. I was so nurtured. I was so cared for.
Okay.
And that was the connection that I had with my aunt. This is a picture of my beloved aunt that raised me from the age of about 2 or 3. And she was just such a delightful lady. I can't find any fault with her. And I think that's where the trauma had come in. So my parents wouldn't mean anything to me.
Ooh, you don't talk about that part. You don't talk about that part. Like especially when they're so young and they're so used to being with a certain person every single day. Yes, their parents left them for a better life, but they're going to eventually come back for their children. But the people that they're with are loving them so well that they kind of forget about you because they're that young.
No stone goes unflipped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that experience has to have the other side to it. You have to grow to know. And once they know, like at a certain age, it's like, I can use divorce for a perfect example. When the children are experiencing the families divorcing, they're only seeing it from a certain level. But when they grow up and they understand that certain things probably had to happen, then they catch it differently. You know what I'm saying? They receive it differently. Meaning the stone flip. So now they have a better understanding. But yeah, that's a conversation that's not really had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like last time we discussed this topic with you all, a lot of people came share their personal experiences with it.
Shout out to y'all, man.
Not just connected to the Windrush generation, but, present day. And there was a lot of, things people went through that was negative. But this is the first time I've heard someone say that was the reason for my trauma because I love the person that I was with.
Ooh, that is deep.
Jean's brother, Linford, also has pleasant childhood memories of them in Jamaica, even though they did not grow up together.
Well, back in Jamaica, I did see my sister. I used to go to the St. Thomas, which is the parish.
But that's what the parent would want, though.
Yeah.
To leave the child with somebody that's going to love the child fully. But yet that love can still play a significant role in that person not knowing who else is out there to love them.
Right, their relationship with their parents.
The relationship.
Ooh, Lord.
I ain't never looked at it like that before. I
know, that is why it's my prayer. Lord, keep me here, keep me sane, keep me safe to raise my own children.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Whew. And not speaking negatively about the Windrush generation. We do understand it. I actually watched a series. I was trying to look up the series name of what it was about, but the title, but it was based on the Windrush people and the things that they went through. It's a series. I think the first season was last year. If I find out the name, I'll put it in the comment section.
Facts.
To see my aunt. And when I did go to St. Thomas, we had lots of fun going catching fish and shrimps and taking the goats to, out and bringing them back in and, the usual thing that children do.
Uprooted from their home in Jamaica, leaving behind people that had become their family, the Barrow children embarked on a journey to a foreign land they had never seen. This marked the beginning of another chapter in their lives, a chapter marked by overwhelming uncertainties.
But when you saw your mother for the very first time, what was your thoughts of her? How did you feel?
Coming to England and my mom being late picking me up from the airport. And when she came,
I should remember that.
and I saw this tall, absolutely beautiful woman, like a model, in a blue suit, similar colour to the suit my aunt had made me. And I looked at her and I thought, oh my goodness, that can't be my mom. She's still beautiful. Oh no, they made a mistake. They got the wrong person. And then she came up to me and she was hugging and kissing. Oh baby. Oh, it's so lovely to see you. And every time she kissed me, her lipstick came off on my face. We got out the airport and then we were in the car. We drove from Manchester Airport, down to where we lived in Old Trafford. And on the way, I was looking at the houses going, I'd never seen houses like this all close together and they look like rabbit hutches. Thinking, do people really live in these? Oh no, there must be factories. Just like a lot of other people said when they came here, they thought the houses were factories. And I remember the first time, winter, The first time I saw smoke, because I came here in August, and then when the weather got cold and people started putting the lighting the coal fires, because we had coal fires in those days, and I remember seeing the smoke coming out the chimney like everybody else. I thought, if I went screaming, I ran back into the house screaming to my mummy, the house is on fire, the house is on fire. And she had to reassure me, and there were so many things. She introduced me to snow. The first time she saw, I had only seen snow on films. The first time I saw snow, I ran out not realizing it was ice, nearly fell. So then she said, then I picked up a handful of snow and I thought it had burnt my hand. I threw it away again and screamed. I said, Mummy, it's burnt my hand. She said, no, come here. Look, it's all right. And she told me how to make a snowball.
While Diane had a warm and happy welcome, Jean had a different experience when she met her parents for the first time.
At that moment when I saw my father, I only recognized him because he looked like a member of the family.
They all look alike.
That just made me say, oh, that is my father. But I was still quite traumatized by it because he didn't say anything to me. There was no greeting, there was no welcome, there was nothing. When I arrived at the house, there were two ladies in the living room. And my first impression was, one of them must be my mum. And I thought it was one particular lady, but it wasn't. Then my father said, oh, here's your mother. And I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, that's not my mother. Because it's the first time that I was going to see my mother and recognize what she actually looked like.
Oh, wow.
For many of the borrowed children, navigating their new reality and trying to build a parent and child bond that had never existed posed huge challenges.
I remember 2 weeks after I came here, Mum got a job in the evening, and I was left to look after my 5-year-old sister. My brother was 4 at the time, and the baby, who was 1. She gave me instructions. I could make them hot chocolate at 7:30. I'd make them hot chocolate, and then we had what we call bun, bun and cheese or things, whatever they wanted. And then I had to make sure that they had a wash, which you call tidy. I had to make sure they tidied. And then they had to be in bed for 8 o'clock. On the one occasion that I got up to go to the toilet and didn't look at the time, she came home, thought I'd been watching TV. So I was beaten.
How were you able to manage, caring for your siblings and at the same time schooling?
In those days, you'd go to school with bruises, whatever, nobody would even notice. But I managed. How I managed, I don't know. But I just did what Mum said.
Jean, on the other hand, resisted her parents' orders. Unlike Diane, who reunited with her mother at the age of 9, Jean arrived in the UK when she was 15 years old, introducing its own set of challenges.
Oh, child. She arrived in her late childhood years.
Yeah, that's teen.
Yeah, she done went
right
through.
There, teen. Right
yes, her aunt raised her.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just see the resentment, the not really wanting to be there.
Not knowing your mom's face for real. Father not even really giving you much attention.
Yeah.
Coming from an environment that actually gave you everything you needed.
The culture shock.
The culture shock on top of that.
The culture shock.
I can understand, but I also want to hear from her, though.
Yeah.
How she thought about it.
Major cultural difference between myself and my parents. They seem like they were stuck in time. A time in Jamaica that had passed. My father left in 1959 and I came in 1972. So there's such a difference in culture.
I want to make mention of that though, because oftentimes you got to think about the parents and all they went through. They're stuck in the time because that's all they try. That's all they have left to hold on to.
Hold on to their culture.
That's the only thing they have left to hold on to. Parents could have easily sent a picture. You got to think about the times though. We got social media and everything going crazy. Ain't no way you should not be able to have a conversation with anybody that you want to talk to.
Right.
But at this time, it's very difficult. We got to get on a boat.
Yeah.
To travel.
Right.
So yeah. You kind of put two and two together with that.
And then I feel like when what we have watched about the Windrush generation, those people built up an economy. You know?
Yeah.
They were called for. That is something big.
Meanwhile, holding on to their culture.
Holding on to their culture, and then dealing with the things that they faced there during the time of building up an economy.
Yeah.
So they went through a lot.
Would say to me, I need to help her with the washing. And I need to do the washing of the clothes. Now, I grew up with my aunt, and my aunt always said it's a woman's responsibility to wash the clothes, not the children. So when I came here, my mother's insisting that I wash the clothes, and I said to her, no. Washing the clothes, it's not mine. I repeated what my aunt had said. I said, I'm not washing. It's your responsibility to wash your husband's clothes. And of course, my mother was crazy. How dare you say that to me? And it was the way I was brought up.
While Jane struggled to understand her mother's cultural values,
she said, "You left me. They raised me the Caribbean way.
Right.
Out in the UK, they exchanging.
This is what I have to bring with me from the culture that I lived in Jamaica. Right. And I was like, telling me I shouldn't think like this is. Yeah, it's like parents whenever they don't have those real moments with their children. Obviously, you can tell with this situation here, it's like they get the kids to basically relearn everything that they were taught.
Right.
That's sketchy. That's a little difficult because you're telling a child something that they have been taught. And when it comes to teaching, we're impressionable. So we want to learn and hold on to it and do it the right way.
We got a routine.
We don't want to mess up. They be stuck in it.
And expectations of her, Linford also found it tough to create a connection with his father.
My experience with my father, initially it seemed okay, but then I started to realize that it wasn't what I expected. I expected my father to operate a certain way, but he'd been here 5 years. So culturally, he'd sort of assimilated a little into the British culture. So some of the words he used, like, I beg your pardon, and things like that, which just didn't make sense to me. He's basically saying, I beg your pardon, but it's the way he said it. And we never used those terms in Jamaica.
And why do you come to England? To seek a job. And what sort of job do you want? Any type, so long as I get that good pay.
A major reason many of the Windrush generation made the sacrifice to leave their children behind was their hope to provide them with a better life and opportunities.
Big facts.
But for the Barrow children, a better life held different meanings.
It was a sacrifice.
As a Barrow child, one of the first impacts on my life is the education, is not being able to fulfill my dreams and my ambition that I brought with me from the Caribbean, of finishing school, getting my qualifications, which I didn't even sit my GCSE. The school system was so different from what I was used to. And the children in particular, I find that they didn't have the same attitude towards education as how I was brought up in Jamaica. Whereas for me, getting an education was so important because that was one of the things that was sold to me. Mm-hmm. So
she said sold.
To say, I was doing the course and I was doing very well and I was really enjoying it without real warning or anything. I just started feeling unwell. It was like a battery running down, and I just kept going. And the more I tried to push myself, the more I just feel myself just slowing down. In the end, I just had to give up, especially because of the cognitive function.
Despite the trauma of being uprooted, which hindered her from completing her education, Jean remains determined to pursue her dream in the career path she had always wanted.
Before I leave Jamaica, I wanted to work in an office. You know, I used to remember seeing the older girls coming home from secretarial college, and I would just run up to the top of the road and I'll just look at them and I'm saying, that's going to be me one day. So of course, when I came to the United Kingdom, I continued to pursue that. I did apply for several office junior posts because I had a very good standard English. So when I phoned up for a job, I was told, come to the interview.
Oh, Lord.
Because they didn't hear an accent. And as soon as I turned up,
that's so sad,
and they saw me, I was told, no, post is full. And I did that over and over and over again. And in the end, I had no choice. I had to choose to go and work in a factory. So again, that was the trauma. So every step of the way, for me personally anyway, it was just that trauma. And all I can think about was how different my life would have been if I was in Jamaica.
Oh my God.
She wanted to stay. She didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Hearing simple things like that just really irks my nerves. Y'all remember, I used to just always be so fired up because I just love my people across the diaspora. I really do. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Like something simple as that, somebody else would say, oh, she can get a different job. It's just a job. No,
it's not that.
That's a goal that she had every right, human right, to be able to achieve.
Yeah, and someone was in position to tell her no, and they constantly did. That's crazy. That's the reality of it. Now, I understand why she would want to go back. This isn't what she was brought up on. 15 years of her life has already been experienced in Jamaica.
Right.
Good life. She come here and the nose just started flying left and right.
All this trauma with my parents, with the people, with the culture, with school. Oh, child, send me back.
Sorry you can't have the job. You don't sound how you look.
Oh,
that's crazy.
I know a lot of people thinking, well, you know, Jamaica's a poor country and, you know, I wouldn't have achieved that. This was the best place for me. It was not the best place for me because there was no foundation here.
Like Jean, Diane also experienced her own fair share of racism.
Last year at primary school, that's when I discovered racism. Because I remember this girl, we were in the playground, this girl came up to me and pulled her fist back, called me the N-word, and was about to punch me. And then the whistle went. So everybody ran, you know, lined up. And then she said to me, right, I'm going to get you tonight at the end of school. I'm going to get you.
Girl, I'm going to get you too.
Again, the N-word. And yes, when I finished school, she was waiting at the gate with her friends and she just came up to me and punched me in my face. And I think, fortunately, I used to suffer from nosebleeds. So even if I blew my nose too hard, it would bleed. My nose just started pouring in blood. And her friends were so frightened, they all ran away. So she ran away with them. And that was how I wasn't beaten up. I was just punched. But there was a lovely gentleman, our class teacher. When he realised what was happening, I think he told the other teachers. He got me reading. He awakened my interest in poetry because he used to read poems to us at the end of the day after school. And one day, I think he noticed how much I enjoyed the poem. So he called me and he said, Diana, you really liked those poems, didn't you? And I said, yes, sir. So, right, take this book home and read it. And then when you finish, bring it back.
Having experienced the emotional disconnection she did with her mother, she was set on spending more time with her daughter, and in the process, she found fulfillment.
Would you say that your expectations of coming here was met?
Yes, my expectations of moving to the UK, I think I've achieved those expectations because when I came here as a little girl, I didn't know what to expect. The things my grandmother said to me as a little 3-year-old, that was in my head all the time. I have to be the best I can be. I have to make Granny proud of me. So that kept me going. I applied for jobs that other people didn't apply for. I was a manager. I managed a local refuge for women and children fleeing domestic violence. When I saw, the children that were coming into the refuge and how they were being treated. A lot of them were taken away from the parents, put into care. At the time, I wanted to spend more time with my youngest daughter because the job was full on. Because I just thought, well, if I do fostering, I'll be at home. I'll be able to spend more time with my daughter. And because unfortunately I was on my own, I was a single parent, I thought I'll be able to spend more time with my daughter and look after her the way I want to. And I'll be able to do something to help other children.
Yeah,
so I resigned from my job managing the local refuge, and I became a foster carer. I intended to foster for about 2 years, until my daughter was old enough to go to school and come home by herself and whatever. But I liked it so much. I fostered for nearly 23 years.
That's hard.
And when I retired, I was told that I'd fostered over 40 children, 45, 46 children.
As for
That's
Leanford,
so beautiful.
That's what's
She
up.
also-
That's what's up. She got in what she feeling.
Yeah.
I think that made sense with the times.
Yeah.
Children are definitely in need. I mean, she was a living proof of being picked on, bullied, and called the N-word, which she probably wasn't even experiencing in Jamaica. So.
And separated from her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so that she poured that trauma into her motherhood with her child, and her wanting to be closer to her child opened the door to purpose work.
Yeah. Yep.
So many, 45, she say 45? 40 something. 40 children were loved on because of the work of her mother. There's a reason for everything. Oh,
Connections, yeah.
Yes.
Myrie believes that coming to the United Kingdom was a good decision for him.
For me, it was a good opportunity to be educated and to get a career and to do a variety of things. It was also, I had more access to information.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd lived in the country area of Jamaica, I wouldn't have that access. We didn't have libraries and all of that in the same way, I could just walk or run for 5 minutes and I'm in the library, in this country. And I was the kind of child that just enjoyed reading. So that actually helped.
The experiences of these borrowed children have woven a narrative of both triumph and trauma. Whatever path their lives have taken in the United Kingdom, they still nurture a profound connection and deep longing for their homeland.
After you got here at the age of 9, did you ever return to Jamaica?
As soon as I started to work, I saved money and went back to Jamaica. As soon as I think it was in my 20s, because I took my daughter with me, and I think she must have been about 6 or 7 at the time. But I wanted her to see where I came from.
And all of what I was going through, the whole time, all I could think about was, I want to go home.
She's ready to get out of there.
I still couldn't feel connected to the United Kingdom. I took my 3 children so they could get to know the place. And that feeling when I'm there is so good.
Being left behind by parents has many complex levels, not easily seen, understood, or discussed, so we still cannot rest. For the emotional and psychological long-term damage is deeply embedded, with stories closely held to our chests. But tapping into our warrior ancestors' resilience gave us strength to overcome adversity and survive.
I felt chills with that one.
Yeah, we're gonna stop right there, man. Y'all make sure you go check the channel out. Yeah, that was a very, very good video, more in depth.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, like the parents had to make a sacrifice and they came back. That's a good thing. So
Yeah, sacrifice and survival.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.